So, right before the movie began of A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Fred Rogers' wife came on and talked about how much of an inspiration Fred Rogers was and what he did for the community, what he did for television, what he did for the population of people. And I'll tell you what, I I clapped because you know what, Fred Rogers is a powerful person and he's a memorable person and he's one of the greatest people ever to grace any medium because he just loved everyone and he had no qualms about it, and that's why he's one of the greatest people in the history. So what's up, guys, and welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. The news film from director Marielle Heller, and it stars Tom Hanks, Matthew Reyes, Chris Cooper, Susan Kelechi Watson, Christine Lahti, Enrico Colantoni, and Maryann Plunkett. I'll be the first to admit, when I saw the documentary Won't You Be My Neighbor, I cried. It was amazing. If you saw my review, I was blown away by how much Fred Rogers really meant to people and how important he really was to people. He was a guy that just believed in the good in the world and he fought for every right for every person. He was, he didn't see color, he didn't see race. He saw a human being. And in a movie like this, you need two things or three things. You just need a couple things. You need to have the respect of who Fred Rogers was, and you need to represent a story that shows the level of commitment that Fred Rogers had. And I will say this, Tom Hanks in this movie is fantastic. He's amazing. He's absolutely mesmerizing as Fred Rogers. He envelops himself as he always does because he's one of the most amazing actors ever to grace the screen. But he has the ticks, he has the mannerisms, he has the ability to just make you feel comfortable, make you feel special. And he is such a kind person in real life, Tom Hanks himself, that doing a role like this, and even Fred Rogers' wife approved of this, it's a perfect pairing. It's almost like, lightning strikes and it's just right there and right then. And that's what Tom Hanks deserves an Oscar nomination for this role because he's the center point, even though he's the supporting character in this movie about his life. He is literally the supporting character because it deals with this character named Lloyd Vogel, who is played by Matthew Reyes. And Matthew Reyes has a disconnect with his father, who basically did something to his mom in the past. His mom unfortunately died, and his father is played by Chris Cooper, who plays Jerry Vogel. And in essence, the character of Larry Vogel is based off Tom Jorad, who wrote and was friends with Fred Rogers. But the idea and the kind of the nature of the story is because of what he went through. The Larry Vogel's character went through, or Lloyd Vogel, I'm sorry, Lloyd Vogel went throughout his life. He's a bitter person. He's an angry person. He doesn't see life as what it is, which is a very interesting, dark place, but has some light at the end of the tunnel. And he works for Esquire, and he's given an assignment to basically do a piece on Fred Rogers. Well, the problem with Fred Rogers, and this isn't a negative, this is the perception of the public, is that Fred Rogers was putting on a persona that he was not really who he says he was. And you put this together with the companion piece of Won't You Be My Neighbor, and Fred Rogers in general was that person. He was who you saw on TV. You could go up to him and he would talk to you. He would talk to you like a person. He loved children. He loved talking to children because he knew these children would be, grow up and have their own families and have their own children and deal with situations and scenarios. And that is what this movie is dealing with. Is this guy is, he's so down on himself. He's so angry that he has to see the good in himself. And he uses Fred Rogers as almost like a linchpin piece to help him see past his problems and to forgive. Basically, it's a movie about forgiveness, and it's a wonderful story. It's not perfect. It does fall into the tropes of your typical story like this, where the angry guy has to see that light at the end of the tunnel. But it's just a fantastic look at Fred Rogers and what he did and who he was. And like I said, Tom Hanks is amazing. And we get to kind of have a behind the scenes look of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And it's led by a character who's played by Enrico Colantoni. He is kind of like the corporate guy. He's kind of in charge of keeping Mr. Rogers going and keeping him in line. but he is looking past who the character of Lloyd Vogel is, which is a guy who just has a lot of problems. It's just really fun to see him. He played Balthazar in Galaxy Quest, and he's just a fun actor, and he does a nice job in this movie. But like I said, it's about the concept of these two characters and how Fred Rogers never just seems to break character, and he was just a good person. And when you see his wife, and Lloyd Vogel's talking to his wife, he's like, yes, he has problems. He deals with it every day, but he deals with it because he knows he can do better for people. And when the two sit down, Lloyd Vogel asks him, do you feel like your kids were a burden? And there's a really fascinating kind of look into Fred Rogers himself. So, but I give a lot of credit to Marielle Heller. She does a nice job. If you ever seen Can You Please Forgive Me with Melissa McCarthy, it's a fantastic look at a person who tried to con a bunch of people, make a lot of money, and she just hits it out of the park. There are scenes in here where it's fit right into Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. There's a lot of model building and model sets that kind of show you the transitions between the scenes, the way the story is used. You get like a kind of like a story told by Mr. Rogers himself, and it's really fun to watch because it really feels like the heart and soul of Mr. Rogers himself. But yeah, just overall, it's a great movie. It has a great message. I don't think it's as good as Will You Be My Neighbor, because that's dealing with the documentary of Fred Rogers himself. So you're kind of getting the nuts and bolts of his character, of who he really was. But it's just such a great, fun story, a great heartwarming story. You really feel the character's transformations. You really feel Fred Rogers' heart and soul there. You just feel really good after the movie. And like I said, when it does just hit, when Fred Rogers or Tom Hanks is there, you just really feel the passion behind who Fred Rogers was and why Tom Hanks is one of the greatest actors living today, because it's such a good movie. I'm debating how I'm going to put it in my top 10 because it's been a crazy year, but when you get a chance to see it when it comes out, near Thanksgiving, definitely give it a shot, because you will feel probably the same way I do, and you probably remember Fred Rogers. At least, I know a lot of people outside of America don't really know him very well, so they don't kind of place him. But just on Tom Hanks' performance alone, I think you'll just enjoy it and you'll feel good about yourself. So, but yeah, that's it. That's my take on Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what's your favorite Fred Rogers moment, what you liked about him, what you didn't like about him. Like I said, he was a good person. So, but anyways, hit that subscribe button, join Movie Emporium, hit the notification bell at the top to find out what's coming next, and of course, comment below on any video that you watch on my channel. But otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for checking out Movie Emporium. I really appreciate it. If you want to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button and the bell at the top. Find out what's coming next for Movie Emporium. Also, check out these two videos. They're amazing. I think they're awesome. I think you'll enjoy them too. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.